So welcome to the Impactivist Show, where inspiration and ideas collide. Thanks for being here. Hey, what's good, podcast? Listen, I want to tell you about two amazing people today that will inspire you and remind you and me that your past doesn't determine your future. Hey, so I don't know if the name Eartha Kitt means anything to you or not. Does it? You ever heard her name before? Eartha Kitt, spelled just like you would imagine, just like it sounds. See, Eartha was born out of wedlock. She was a child that came as a result of a rape. Eartha was born in the cotton fields of South Carolina. Her mother was a sharecropper who was African American and Cherokee descent. Eartha never knew her father. And then she was given away by her mother, who traveled and ended up arriving in Harlem at the age of 9. At 15, Eartha quit high school to work in a Brooklyn factory, and then as a teenager, she lived in friends' homes and in the subways. See, in today's world, we would classify her as a couch surfer or an unaccompanied youth in the school system. But by the 1950s, she had sung and danced her way out of poverty and into the spotlight. You may not know her name, but I guarantee you know her voice from a little song that she wrote and performed called Santa Baby. Yeah, that's Eartha Kitt. Orson Welles called her the most exciting girl in the world. Man, she has appeared in Simpsons episodes. She was in the Emperor's New Groove movie. She was in Holes in 2003. She's been in a host of TV shows and even replaced the original Catwoman in the early 60s Batman TV show. Sadly, she passed away in 2008 from colon cancer. But now think about this, man. A young girl in the late 20s is born, unwanted pregnancy, a product of rape, then given away to a stranger. She never knew her biological parents. She was taken from the cotton fields of South Carolina to Harlem, drops out of high school by 15, and becomes a globally known multilingual actor, singer, and performer. Man, what does that say? What does that say to you? Doesn't that inspire you? See, I had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine in town named Barbara, and you're going to get to meet her in a podcast episode really, really soon. She's amazing, man. She's funny, she's smart, she's driven, she's got a heart of gold. She's the kind of person that lights up a room when she shows up, and I love her. Both her and her husband are amazing people. So the other day, she was telling me about her experience growing up in an abusive home. And it's everything you can imagine, right? Physical abuse, alcoholism, drug abuse. Her dad served time in prison, all of that stuff. She graduated high school early. She ended up getting a full college scholarship to a private school, and her parents wouldn't let her go. See, being from a strong, traditional Hispanic family, her parents wanted her to stay home, stay in town, get a job, get a husband, start having babies. And I'll let her tell you the rest of the story in the next episode, but one of the things she said to me was this. She said, your past doesn't have to determine your future. She said, it ticks me off when someone says, well, you know, I grew up in poverty, or I grew up with an abusive father, or I'm a minority, or I have this obstacle, and I can't do it. I can't do X, whatever that is. It's just not true. And she's right. Hey y'all, it's Tom. Listen, I'm jumping in here real quick to tell you that one of the things I'm super passionate about is feeding hungry children who don't have enough to eat this weekend. It's such a big deal. My wife and I started a nonprofit charity called Backpack Friends, where we're feeding thousands of children who otherwise would be going without food while they're not at school. And it's right here in the U.S. We're working hard to make an impact in the lives and communities of those who need it most, and I would love for you to join us in that project. Just go to backpackfriends.com, and for as little as $10 a month, you can be a hero to a hungry child. See, leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about caring for those in your charge. Go to backpackfriends.com to find out how you can be a hero to a child, or just text the number 10 to 512-856-6580 to get started. But now, let's get back to the show. I mean, you can do whatever you put your mind to, right? Whatever seed that God has put in your heart, in your soul to do, whatever you've been created to do, man, I believe that 100%. Now, I'm not saying it's not difficult or hard, or that you won't have to fight for it every inch of the way. But when you want something as bad as you want to breathe, you'll figure it out. See, that's what I tell my own kids. And that's what we need to communicate to the kids in our Backpack Friends program, that it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is where you finish. And man, that's not just for kids, and that's for all of us, right? If anyone out of your situation has ever become successful, however you define success, but if anyone out of your situation has ever become successful, then you can do it too, right? I mean, look, if anyone who grew up with the same limitations or obstacles that you grew up with, if anyone out there who has the same disabilities or faced the same prejudice, if they've made it through, guess what? There's no excuse, man. There's no reason you can't do the same. We've all made mistakes. We've all missed the mark in some way or another, but your past doesn't weigh you down unless you carry it into your future. Let me say that again, because it's really meant a lot to me. Your past doesn't weigh you down unless you carry it with you into the future. See, it can also be great fuel to propel you into something amazing. Your test can become your testimony, right? See, there's a grave here in Austin that's marked with the name Night Train Lane. And I don't know if you know that name or not, but Dick Night Train Lane, his mother was a prostitute here in Austin. His father was a pimp called Texas Slim. And when he was 3 years old, he was found in a dumpster covered up with newspapers. I mean, his mother literally threw him away. A woman passing by heard him crying in the dumpster and thought he was a cat. So this woman named Ella took him in along with her 4 other children. And he ended up playing football at Anderson High School here in town. He served 4 years in the Army. Later, he signed to the LA Rams to play football in the NFL. Now check this out. During his rookie year, he broke the NFL record for interceptions and led the league with 298 interceptor return yards. He became known as one of the top 10 most feared tacklers. Night Train Lane also went on to go play football for the Chicago Cardinals, the Detroit Lions. He was invited to play in numerous Pro Bowls. He was inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame. Man, he was inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, the NFL 75th Anniversary All-Time Team. He was inducted into the Arizona Cardinals Ring of Honor, and he ranks in among the top 20 greatest football players of all time. Man, that ought to inspire you. You think about that a 3-month-old baby who was literally thrown away, found in a dumpster, the product of a prostitute and a pimp, was able to make such an indelible mark in the world, to excel at such a level, at that kind of level, doing what he loved. Man, how beautiful is that? And I know people will look at that and say, oh, well, you know, he got lucky, or oh, he had talent that I don't have. Okay, yeah, maybe so, maybe to a degree, right? Sure, he may have had some natural talent. He may have had some God-given gifts athletically that you and I may not have, but I guarantee you he also worked hard. He learned, he practiced, he showed up day after day after day, and he fought for it. He endured poverty. He endured racism of the 40s and 50s. Man, Night Train Lane didn't let his past define his future. If I were guessing, I bet he let his past fuel his future. I bet he let his circumstance be the reason, the why. It wasn't an obstacle, and it was like jet fuel. Maybe you've grown up in a similar situation. Maybe not. But either way, man, I hope you can trust the seed of whatever's inside of you to do. And lean into that, water it, nurture it, grow it. Only look back in order to see how far you've come. If that story inspires you, I hope you'll share it with someone who needs to hear it. Man, send this to somebody. Tell them, I believe in you. Tell them you need to keep going. The person you send this to may be the next Eartha Kitt. It may be the next Night Train Lane. You don't know. Heck, for that matter, it could be you. Thanks for listening. Hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed this segment. If you did, will you do me a favor? Could you hit the subscribe button? Could you share this episode with someone who would be encouraged to hear it? Maybe they just need a little boost right now and you could encourage them. Let them know you're thinking about them and that you thought they might enjoy it. The whole idea behind the Impactivist Show is to spread as much encouragement and empowerment as possible. I mean, let's face it, there's so much negativity and criticism in the world right now. Who couldn't use a little lift? So please, it would mean a lot if you could share and subscribe. Together, we can make a huge impact in the world. Hey, and don't forget to hop over to the Impactivist Facebook group. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you have a great day, man. I'll see you soon.
Oh my gosh, that was good.